Shalom uvracha. This Shabbat we're going to read Parashat Mikkets, which we read almost every year during Chanukah. And as many commentators have mentioned in the past, it's possible to find some coincidental connections between the content of the parasha and the themes of our Chanukah celebration. For example, at the beginning of the parasha, we find that Yosef, the son of Yaakov, is in jail. And at the end of the parasha, Joseph is one of the leaders of Egypt. He is the primary advisor and counsel to Pharaoh. Similarly, the story of Chanukah commemorates how Israel was conquered by the Greek Syrians, who not only tried to change the life and thinking and culture of our ancestors in the land of Israel, but actually defiled the temple. And then we celebrate the conquest of the Maccabees, of the Hasmonean family and their followers, their victory over the Greek Syrians and the rededication of the temple. But how does one commemorate a holiday when you don't have the directions, the instructions for that holiday as you do for so many other festivals and special days of the year that are found in the Torah? We know how to commemorate Pesach, we know how to observe Shabbat, but Chanukah is late, so the rabbis have a discussion in the Talmud regarding different ways of observing Chanukah. And we find in Masechet Shabbat, Tanu Rabbanan, taught in the name of the rabbis, Mitzvat Chanukah ner ish uveito, that the mitzvah of commemorating the rededication of the temple is for one person of each household to light a candle. So instead of lighting, as we do today, one candle the first night and two the second night and 8 candles the last night, and using a shamash to light those candles, all the Talmud tells us is that each night of Chanukah, a member of the household will light one candle. So you wouldn't have to buy one of those big boxes of candles. You only need a box of 8 candles for the entire week of Chanukah. Then the Talmud teaches us, in the name of the Academy of Shammai, one of the great scholars of the Mishnaic period, that in fact we'll light 8 candles the first night, and 7 the second, and 6 the third, working our way down to 1 candle at the end of Chanukah, which is the opposite of what Hillel teaches at the end of that discussion in the Talmud, which is what we observe today. Lighting 1 candle the first, and 2 the second, and 3 the third, until we reach 8 on the last night, a sign that our joy is increasing as we add more and more light into our homes during our Chanukah celebrations. I love that particular passage because it says something important about our religion, if not all religions. It teaches that there are times when Judaism is being responsive to the needs of the people, but it's in a state of flux or questioning before concretizing and firmly establishing a particular custom. At this time in the history of our people, there apparently was not one set way of celebrating Chanukah. The Talmud tells us that we're going to go with Hillel, and that's what we do today, but there must have been a time period when it wasn't clear, or when one could choose from at least these 4 options. And I think that Judaism, like most religions, is still a developing religion responding to people's needs, and therefore introducing new practices and a choice of practices until something gets concretized. And the best example I can think of in our own world is how we celebrate the births of our daughters. You know, the Torah teaches us that when a son is born, he ought to be circumcised on the 8th day, and Halakha teaches us that as long as the child is healthy, we can do it on the 8th day, and if the child is not healthy, then sometime soon afterwards, we'll do the Brit Milah. We'll circumcise our sons. But we don't get a lot of direction about how to celebrate the births of our daughters. In most communities, it was traditional for the father of a daughter to be brought up to the Torah, to recite the brachot, to have a prayer read that included the announcement of the daughter's name, and even if the mother and the daughter couldn't be in shul, everybody celebrated without the key participants in the birth of the daughter. In today's world, where we're more sensitive to being inclusive of everyone, especially the star players, the mothers and the daughters, we probably need to find other ways as well to celebrate the births of our daughters, and therefore, in the last 20, 30 years or so, a lot of creative services have been put together that allow families and communities to celebrate the arrival of a baby girl into the Jewish community. And we have a Simchat Bat ceremony, celebrating the joy of the birth of a daughter. We have a Brit Bat, using the word Brit, just as we do at a circumcision. Brit meaning the covenant that we establish with our daughters. Or we'll even invoke the name Zeved Bat from the Sephardic tradition, signifying that a daughter is a gift. And we're celebrating the arrival of that special gift. And all the ceremonies and all the possible options are different because nobody has yet concretized or established the one specific way we ought to celebrate the births of our daughters. But I imagine that maybe in the next 100 years, somebody somewhere will include a specific service that will be so popular that it will become the universal standard for the Jewish people. In the meantime, Hanukkah remains a paradigm for us, showing us that we can celebrate Hanukkah in different ways and in different times.